Welcome back. I'm joined now by Rebecca George, a nurse in the emergency department at Northern Light Health, and you're with the trauma team. And today we're talking about Stop the Bleed awareness. Can you explain Stop the Bleed, what it is, and why it's important for people to know some of these skills?
Sure. So Stop the Bleed is a program that was developed in 2012 after the Sandy Hook school shooting. There was a trauma surgeon in Connecticut on the Connecticut Committee on Trauma who recognized there was a need for public education on bleeding control. And from that, Stop the Bleed was born. It's important because bleeding injuries can happen anywhere. And it's really important to be able to know how to manage that until you can get help there.
Now, how frequently do you recommend that people refresh their training in Stop the Bleed techniques, and what are some resources available for ongoing education and practice?
Sure. Your Stop the Bleed skills should be refreshed every couple years.
Okay.
The Stop the Bleed website has a lot of great refresher videos and posters that are available to anybody to access.
And of course, there are going to be common misconceptions that people have about controlled bleeding in emergency situations. How does Stop the Bleed, how do these courses address these misconceptions?
Sure. I think one misconception is that you need medical background or knowledge or medical grade equipment available to you. And that's really not the case. Stop the Bleed really teaches lay people how to manage bleeding with basic tools that anybody might have access to.
It's so important because you never know when this might happen. Can you share success stories or examples of people who've used the skills learned in the Stop the Bleed course to save lives or even to mitigate injuries in real-world emergencies?
Sure. So working in the emergency department, I've seen a lot of great improvised tourniquets and self-applied tourniquets as well. Personally, a few years ago, my dad had an accident that resulted in a bleeding injury. My mom was able to use techniques taught in Stop the Bleed to manage his bleeding until EMS was able to get there and help him as well.
So important, especially in those moments, having that knowledge in those emergency moments. If someone is interested in hosting or attending a Stop the Bleed training, who can they reach out to?
They can reach out to clinical education at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center.
And it's just as easy as that to reach out?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca. You can also just remember you can call their clinical education at 207-973-7320. If you'd like to see this again, you can head to our website. We'll be right back.